All right, LDBC, this is your boy, the Coach Show, live on the Coach Show live. Okay, guys, what's being reported, man? They said that, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren did, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. Hey, man, that's crazy. I tell you what, though, man. Jake Paul, these YouTubers, KSI, Logan Paul, they doing something right, man. They doing something right. And I tell you something right now, man. The majority of their pay-per-view buys, came from their followers. It's crazy, man. These guys can come into the game and see, this is what I feared for the sport of boxing. This is what I feared. See, I feared that, that these fights that they kept saying, well, we're going to let them marinate. We're going to let them marinate. Okay, we're going to let these fights marinate over and over and over. I feared that, the sport of boxing would fall behind and, boxing would lose fan bases. Well, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, KSI, they've created a whole nother boxing audience. It's already been proven. Okay, they brought in a whole nother boxing audience. And so all you guys are living on boxing past, and guys, that time's almost over. Okay, it's really gonna come to an end. They brought a whole nother audience in, man. They brought a bunch of young social media type audience into the game. And these people are going to support their fighter. See, here's the thing, man. Boxing, mainstream boxing, they spent so much time, man, not booking these fights that we want to see. And this is the result of it. And I guarantee you, there are going to be more YouTubers that come out into the game. It's going to be more YouTubers, more successful YouTubers that come out into the game. I guarantee you, if that idiot, PewDiePie, if he start boxing, I guarantee you, he's going to bring a heavy following into the game. But boxing did it to itself. Boxing did this. Boxing did it. And, boxing has officially turned into a freak show. I tell you what, though, I can't be mad. Jake Paul just came into this piece and said, okay, let me go ahead and bring some followers. Let me go ahead and bring my followers. Let's go into boxing because, Jake Paul, they smart people, man. They research, man. They start looking at, how much money that these fighters get. And he probably sat, with his handlers and they were like, I can go into the fight and just make $10 million just to go in there and take a few punches. I can go in there and make some money, some real money. It's a risk. I probably could come out a vegetable. But you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. So Jake Paul, they took a calculated risk. Because think about it, man. Here's a guy with no boxing, no amateur background, no nothing. He just, was making YouTube videos. And by the way, was very successful at making these videos. Highly successful in making YouTube videos. He just said, you know what? I want to box. It came to him, pretty much like a damn epiphany. Yeah, I just want to box. Get up off his couch, start training. And you know what? Now he's 3-0 as a boxer. People are saying, well, he fighting a bunch of bums. Well, okay. That's what when you first start out, do you fight the best competition? I think Jake Paul pretty much doing what the fight. What's the difference, man? Hell, we still got fighters now who got like 20 fights. Triple G, they still fighting bums. What's the difference? The only difference is this man bought like 1 million people who gonna buy his fights. 1 million people that's gonna buy his fights. Bud Crawford ain't got that. Errol Spence ain't got that. I'll say Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, too, did close to 1 million. So, we can probably exclude them because they've kind of had some success being boxers in this era. But that's it. These YouTube stars, they're coming to the sport, man. They're going to take over. They're going to take over. And I'm going to tell you what's funny, man. These boxing promoters and these fighters, they still not going to get it. They still ain't going to get it. They still going to try to marinate fights. See, people, how many people have made videos about Jake Paul? Y'all see anybody making videos about Teofimo Lopez? Only really, really true diehard boxing channels are doing that. But we got some really, some big boxing channels. They talking about Jake Paul. They done did 5, 6 Jake Paul videos. Who's talking about Devin Haney, Gary Russell Jr., Teofimo Lopez, okay? Spence and Crawford is the least talked about. Ain't nobody talking about you. Ain't nobody talking about you because y'all don't want to make the fight happen. Guys, I even think at this time, if Spence and Crawford got officially made, I don't think it's even going to come close to the buzz that Jake Paul just put in there. I mean, they get it. They get it. They get it. You got to make some fights. And see, they got such a big following on YouTube is that, their followers are going to watch them fight anybody because they built up that following. Could you imagine, man, if the regular boxer would just, make a following and actually be interactive with their following? See, this is what Bud Crawford messed up with. This is where he messed up. He didn't want to interact with all his fans. Nope. Thought people was hating on him, taking shots at him, but people was actually, really trying to support him. That's what Bud Crawford thought. He thought that. Hell, I don't know why he thought it. He thought it for a lot of years. Still think it now. Ain't nobody talking about him. And now, people like Bud, all these fighters, they actually, like, they sitting back and they kind of upset. And I'm like, what you guys upset for? Y'all had a chance to fight each other, and you didn't. What you upset for? Now, Jake Paul got a lot of MMA guys that want him, which, you know what? Okay, fight him. Go ahead and make that money. Go on and make that money, okay? Go on and make that bag. I ain't hating on him. Look, man, this man finna make money. I think Jake Paul probably got about $20 million, man, to go in here and fight, a bum Askren. They got $20 million to fight bum Askren. And of course, he's gonna get some pay-per-view points on top of, beating bum Askren. It's a bag. He went in there, took boxing by the neck and just said, give me my money. That's what Jake Paul did. He went into boxing, took boxing by the neck and said, give me my money. This is my money. Give it to me. I know these fighters wish, man, they can go in there and just do that. I know they wish they can bring a fan base, but see, all of this stuff now, you don't want the best to fight the best. You're trying to hide your fighters. You don't want to make these big name fights. And this is just the beginning. See, that's why I keep telling y'all, MMA, they smart. They smart to keep the matchups competitive. They smart because they're going to keep their traditional fan base. Now, you'll have some of us that go over there and watch the freak show. Of course we will, because it's a freak show, and everybody likes a good freak show. Okay, we're going to watch that freak show. But for the most part, we're going to be stable MMA fans because MMA, they get it. In order to thrive in this new market now, this social media market, the best got to fight the best. The best got to fight the best. We're getting the best. Look, next weekend, we got 3 title fights in the UFC. And then a week after that, we got Bellator. Pitbull finna make a return. Hey, man. Boxing is garbage. Like, y'all come in here and y'all let this guy right here, y'all let him take over your sport. And if Jake Paul is ever on the card with any big name fighter, he's going to be the headliner. I mean, you guys know that, don't you? Y'all know Jake Paul going to be the headliner. If Spence Crawford and Jake Paul fight on the same card, Jake Paul going to be the headliner, man. Y'all did this. You guys did it. All the A side, B side, this side of the street, that side of the street. But I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to tell you who I blame too. I also blame Mayweather-Pacquiao, man. I blame them because, they stalled that fight for over 6 years, man. They stalled it. That fight never happened. And it was mostly Manny's fault, but still it was their fault. Because the fight should have been made. They stalled. And so now you got all these fighters, they come into the game and they try to have this Floyd Mayweather aura. They try to have a Floyd Mayweather persona. They try to act like they the A side. And these dudes ain't sold a single pay-per-view, most of them. And if they have sold a pay-per-view, it ain't even close to 1 million buys, man. Why y'all think Deontay Wilder be rolling up in there, he be saying 50-50? Because Deontay, see, I don't know why people give Deontay Wilder such a hard time, man. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But Deontay Wilder give a majority of his opponents, they get 50-50. He don't come in there talking A side, B side. He just give them what they want, man, so he can fight them. I don't know. Spence, Crawford, they ain't figured that out yet. They ain't figured it out. They ain't figured it out. Bud don't, I don't know, man. This whole era of boxing is screwed up. I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm not highly invested in boxing anymore like I used to. I'm not. I'm not highly invested. And now they're going to let this guy take over. And man, before long, they're going to start having YouTube, they're going to start having YouTube stars. Okay, they're going to start having YouTube star beef. And instead of them, beefing through internet, social media, they're going to get in the boxing ring. Ooh, boxing. Boxing. Boxing is now the new rising. Congratulations. Congratulations, Bob Arum, Al Heyman, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn. Congrats. Look at what y'all have done to the sport.